Hello, brothers, and welcome to Sigma Grandpa Channel. Never underestimate the person who has already learned to live without your approval. By the time you notice their silence, they've already noticed everything about you. Here's a strange truth that most people never realize. The greatest advantages in life are often invisible. We admire loud confidence because it's easy to see, but history and psychology have repeatedly shown that the people who observe more than they announce usually understand the game before everyone else even realizes they're playing it. Now, before you start imagining a man dressed in all black, standing alone on a mountain while dramatic music plays, relax. That's a movie trailer, not real life. The real mystery is far more fascinating. There are things about Sigma males that almost nobody talks about, not because they're magical or superhuman, but because they're uncomfortable to admit. These aren't motivational clichés about being independent or mysterious. Those ideas have been repeated so many times they've lost their meaning. Today we're pulling back the curtain on the hidden psychology, the unwritten rules, and the quiet patterns that most people never notice. Some of these truths will completely change the way you read people. Others might make you question someone you thought you knew, including yourself. But here's the interesting part. The more society celebrates noise, the easier it becomes to overlook the people who move in silence. And sometimes the most valuable knowledge isn't hidden because it's complicated. It's hidden because almost no one is paying attention. So if you're ready to discover the forbidden knowledge, most people will go their entire lives without noticing. Stay with me until the end, because the final revelation isn't just surprising. It's the one truth that explains all the others. Number one, they know exactly how people manufacture importance. One of the most overlooked things about Sigma males is that they quickly recognize how people manufacture the appearance of importance. They understand that looking valuable and actually being valuable are often two completely different things. They notice the person who constantly reminds everyone how busy they are, as if a packed schedule automatically means a meaningful life. They see the coworker who fills every conversation with big words to sound smarter than everyone else. They notice the friend who mentions influential names at every opportunity, hoping that someone else's status will rub off on them. To a Sigma male, these aren't signs of confidence. They're usually signs that someone is trying too hard to be seen. What makes this different is that Sigma males rarely feel the need to compete with these performances. They know that real ability doesn't need a loud introduction. A skilled mechanic doesn't have to tell you he's good every 5 minutes. A great chef lets the food speak. A true leader doesn't constantly remind everyone that they're in charge. Results have a way of introducing people better than words ever can. This mindset also protects them from being impressed too easily. They don't mistake expensive clothes for wealth, loud opinions for intelligence, or a large social media following for influence. They understand that many people spend more energy building an image than building themselves. The funny part is that society often rewards appearances first. The loudest voice gets noticed. The flashiest person gets attention. The one with the perfect image collects admiration. But Sigma males know that attention and respect are not the same thing. One can be bought, borrowed, or performed. The other has to be earned. That's why they spend less time polishing their image and more time sharpening their skills. They know that manufactured importance fades the moment the spotlight moves elsewhere. Genuine value doesn't depend on who's watching. It continues to exist in silence, proving itself over and over again without ever asking for applause. Number two, they can predict relationships by watching silence. Most people think relationships are revealed through conversations. Sigma males know they're often revealed through silence. It's not the words people choose that catch their attention. It's what happens when the words stop. Silence has a strange way of exposing what people are trying to hide. Some people panic the moment a conversation goes quiet. They rush to fill every pause with random stories, nervous laughter, or endless explanations because silence makes them uncomfortable. Others become restless, checking their phones or searching for distractions, as if a few quiet seconds are something to escape. A Sigma male pays attention to these moments because they reveal emotional habits that polished conversations often conceal. Someone who constantly fills silence may be chasing approval. Someone who can't sit quietly with another person may be uncomfortable with themselves. And someone who only speaks after thinking often values meaning over noise. This is why Sigma males rarely judge relationships by how much people talk. They judge them by how comfortable people are when nothing needs to be said. Genuine trust doesn't always need constant conversation. Two people who respect each other don't feel pressured to entertain one another every second. They understand that presence can be enough. Silence also reveals hidden tension. If two people suddenly become quiet around each other, a Sigma male notices. If one person goes silent only after a certain topic comes up, he notices that too. Those small changes often say more than a long explanation ever could. The surprising part is that silence cannot be rehearsed. People can prepare speeches, fake confidence, and practice charming responses, but silence catches everyone off guard. It strips away performance and leaves behind natural reactions. That's why Sigma males treat silence like information instead of awkwardness. While everyone else is waiting for the next person to speak, they're quietly observing what the silence is already saying. More often than not, those quiet moments reveal the truth long before anyone decides to speak it out loud. Number 3, they secretly test whether people respect boundaries without saying no. One of the quietest things Sigma males do is observe how people react when they stop making themselves constantly available. They don't always need to say no to learn who respects them. Sometimes they simply take a little longer to reply, skip an invitation, or choose not to explain every decision they make. What follows tells them far more than any direct conversation could. Most people reveal their true nature when they don't get immediate access to someone. A respectful person understands that everyone has a life, responsibilities, and moments when they need space. They don't take it personally. They don't demand explanations or act as if your time belongs to them. Others react very differently. They become impatient, send repeated messages, make passive-aggressive comments, or suddenly accuse you of changing. Some even try to make you feel guilty for not responding the way they're used to. In that moment, the issue isn't your availability. It's their expectation that you should always be available for them. Sigma males notice this immediately. They understand that boundaries are rarely tested when everything is going smoothly. They're tested when expectations aren't met. That's when entitlement quietly walks into the room. The person who truly respects you will adjust. The person who only values you for convenience will push harder. This doesn't mean Sigma males play games or deliberately ignore people. There's a big difference between creating unnecessary drama and simply living your own life without feeling obligated to explain every move. They don't use silence as punishment. They use it as clarity. Over time, this habit saves them from one-sided relationships. It helps them separate people who appreciate them from people who simply expect access to them. That's a difference many people never learn until they've been drained by the wrong relationships. The forbidden knowledge is this: boundaries don't usually expose bad people. They expose unrealistic expectations. And once a Sigma male sees those expectations clearly, he no longer feels guilty for protecting his time, his energy, and his peace. Number 4, they watch what changes after success. Most people believe success reveals who they are. Sigma males believe it reveals everyone else. When life is difficult, support is easy to fake. People encourage you because there's no threat in cheering for someone who's still climbing. They offer kind words, give advice, and say they hope you make it. But the moment you actually begin to succeed, something interesting happens. The atmosphere changes. Some people become quieter. Others suddenly stop celebrating your wins. A few begin pointing out your flaws more often than before. Some disguise their discomfort as concern, telling you not to get too ambitious or warning that you're changing. On the surface, it sounds like friendly advice. Underneath, it can be something entirely different. Sigma males pay close attention to these shifts because they understand that success has a way of exposing hidden emotions. Envy rarely announces itself. It doesn't walk into the room wearing a name tag. Instead, it hides behind sarcasm, backhanded compliments, unnecessary criticism, or a strange lack of enthusiasm whenever something good happens in your life. At the same time, success also reveals the people worth keeping. These are the ones who celebrate your progress without making it about themselves. They don't compete with your victories or try to outshine your achievements. They clap because they genuinely want to see you grow. This is why Sigma males never judge relationships only during hard times. They also watch what happens during the good times. Strange as it sounds, prosperity can test loyalty more than hardship ever could. They know that not everyone who walks beside you wants to see you move ahead of them. Some people enjoy your company only while they feel equal or slightly ahead. Once the balance changes, so does their attitude. That's the hidden lesson. Success doesn't just unlock new opportunities. It quietly rearranges your relationships. The people who remain sincere after your victories are often the ones who valued you all along. Everyone else simply valued the version of you that made them feel more comfortable. Number 5, they can detect fake confidence within minutes. One of the biggest misconceptions people have is that confidence is loud. Sigma males know that real confidence is usually much quieter than people expect. In fact, the louder someone tries to prove they are confident, the more likely there is something they're trying to hide. A Sigma male doesn't judge confidence by the volume of a person's voice or how much attention they attract. He watches something far more revealing. Does this person constantly need to be the smartest in the room? Do they interrupt others just to make a point? Do they turn every conversation back to themselves? If the answer is yes, he sees insecurity wearing confidence as a disguise. People with genuine confidence don't feel threatened by other capable people. They don't need to dominate every discussion or win every argument. They're comfortable admitting they don't know something. They ask questions without feeling embarrassed because their self-worth isn't built on pretending to have all the answers. Fake confidence works differently. It feeds on recognition. It needs applause, agreement, and constant reassurance to survive. That's why it often comes with exaggerated stories, unnecessary bragging, and an endless desire to impress. Strip away the audience, and much of that confidence disappears with it. Sigma males find this fascinating because they understand that confidence isn't about proving yourself to others. It's about no longer feeling the need to. The person who is secure doesn't waste energy convincing strangers that they're important. They're too busy living their life to keep checking who approves of it. This way of thinking also changes how Sigma males carry themselves. They don't chase the image of confidence. They focus on becoming competent, knowing that real confidence grows naturally from experience, discipline, and self-respect. It doesn't have to be rehearsed or displayed like a performance. The forbidden truth is that confidence and attention are not the same thing. One is built from within, while the other depends on an audience. Sigma males learn to tell the difference almost immediately, and once they do, they're far less likely to be impressed by the loudest person in the room. Number 6, they notice who only has energy. when there's drama. One of the quiet observations Sigma males make is that not everyone enjoys peace. Some people seem restless when life is calm. They need conflict, gossip, arguments, or constant emotional ups and downs to feel engaged. Without realizing it, they've become dependent on drama because it gives them excitement, attention, or a sense of importance. A Sigma male usually spots this pattern long before everyone else does. He notices the person who always has a new problem, but never seems interested in a solution. He notices the friend who somehow finds conflict in every workplace, every relationship, and every group they join. At first, it looks like bad luck. After a while, it starts looking like a habit. What makes this dangerous is that drama spreads quickly. It rarely stays where it begins. Someone who constantly creates tension eventually pulls everyone around them into the storm. Small misunderstandings become major conflicts. Private conversations become public gossip. Simple disagreements turn into personal battles. Sigma males understand that this kind of chaos is exhausting. It steals time, drains emotional energy, and distracts people from things that actually matter. That's why they don't feel guilty for stepping away. They know that protecting their peace is often wiser than proving a point. They also recognize that some people mistake calmness for weakness. When a Sigma male refuses to argue or react emotionally, others may think they've won. In reality, he's simply refusing to participate in a game that has no reward. Not every fight deserves a response, and not every accusation deserves a defense. Over time, this habit changes the quality of his relationships. He naturally gravitates toward people who solve problems instead of creating them, who communicate instead of gossiping, and who bring stability instead of constant emotional turbulence. The hidden truth is that drama doesn't always arrive looking like conflict. Sometimes it arrives disguised as entertainment, friendship, or concern. Sigma males learn to recognize the pattern before it becomes their problem. They know that the easiest way to win unnecessary battles is to never volunteer for them in the first place. Number 7, they never trust someone's kindness until they see their anger. Kindness is easy when everything is going well. It's easy to smile when people agree with you, easy to be patient when nothing goes wrong, and easy to be generous when life is comfortable. Sigma males know this, which is why they don't judge someone's character by their best moments. They pay closer attention to their worst ones. The real test begins when frustration enters the picture. A delayed flight, a disagreement, a mistake at work, or a simple misunderstanding can reveal more about a person than years of pleasant conversations. Some people remain respectful even when they're upset. They control their emotions without pretending they don't exist. They express disappointment without humiliating others. That kind of self-control earns a Sigma male's respect. Others react very differently. They insult people the moment they're challenged. They lose their temper over small inconveniences. They become cruel, sarcastic, or vindictive the instant life refuses to go their way. The kindness they displayed before suddenly disappears, revealing that it was never deeply rooted. It was simply easy to maintain while conditions were perfect. Sigma males don't expect people to be calm every second of every day. Everyone gets angry. Everyone has bad moments. What matters is what that anger produces. Does it create honesty or destruction? Does it seek solutions or revenge? Does it reveal maturity or expose a lack of self-control? This perspective also keeps Sigma males from being fooled by first impressions. A charming smile, polite words, and good manners can leave a strong impression, but those things alone don't reveal character. Pressure does. Disappointment does. Conflict does. That's why they don't rush to place complete trust in someone simply because they're pleasant. They wait. They observe. They let time reveal what appearances cannot. The forbidden truth is that anger doesn't create character. It exposes it. When emotions rise, masks become difficult to wear. The version of a person that appears during moments of frustration is often far closer to who they truly are than the version they carefully present when everything is going their way. Number 8, they measure intelligence by what someone ignores. Most people think intelligence is about knowing more facts, having quick answers, or winning arguments. Sigma males see it differently. They believe one of the clearest signs of intelligence is knowing what deserves your attention, and more importantly, what doesn't. The average person reacts to almost everything. Every opinion demands a response. Every insult feels personal. Every rumor becomes interesting. Every trend seems impossible to ignore. Before long, their mind is crowded with things that add no real value to their life. A Sigma male notices this pattern immediately. He watches the person who argues with strangers online for hours just to prove a point that will be forgotten tomorrow. He sees people chasing every headline, every controversy, and every distraction that appears in front of them. They're constantly busy, yet rarely moving forward. To a Sigma male, intelligence isn't just about absorbing information, it's about filtering it. The ability to ignore what doesn't matter is often more valuable than the ability to remember everything. This is why he rarely feels the need to respond to every criticism or defend himself against every false assumption. He understands that not every opinion deserves a reply, and not every battle deserves his energy. Some arguments aren't meant to be won. They're meant to trap you in endless circles that steal your focus. The same principle applies to everyday life. While others are distracted by gossip, unnecessary competition, and the constant need to keep up with everyone else, the Sigma male quietly stays focused on his own direction. He knows that every yes to a distraction is a no to something more important. The hidden truth is that attention is one of the most valuable things a person owns. Once it's wasted, it can never be recovered. That's why Sigma males guard it carefully. They understand something many people learn too late. Your life is shaped not only by the choices you make, but also by the countless distractions you refuse to entertain. Sometimes the smartest decision isn't speaking, reacting, or joining in. Sometimes it's simply walking past the noise as if it was never meant for you in the first place. Number 9, they can tell who is performing a personality. One of the most unusual abilities Sigma males develop is recognizing when someone is performing a personality instead of simply living it. They understand that many people don't act naturally. They act according to the image they want others to believe. Some people build their entire identity around looking successful. Others make sure everyone sees them as the funniest person in the room, the toughest, the smartest, or the most rebellious. Every sentence, every reaction, and every decision feels carefully chosen to protect that image. It becomes less about who they are and more about who they want the audience to see. A Sigma male notices the small cracks in that performance. He pays attention to how people behave when there's no one to impress. Do they suddenly become quieter? Do their opinions change depending on who they're with? Do they laugh at jokes they didn't find funny just to fit in? These little shifts reveal that the personality isn't stable. It's adapting to win approval. That's why Sigma males don't get carried away by first impressions. They know that charisma can be rehearsed, confidence can be copied, and even authenticity can be faked for a while. But pretending is exhausting. Given enough time, people stop acting and start revealing themselves. This is also why Sigma males are careful about creating an image of their own. They understand how easy it is to become trapped by the character you invented. If you spend years trying to look fearless, you may become afraid of admitting weakness. If you spend years trying to look perfect, you may forget how to be honest. The hidden lesson is that freedom begins when you no longer have to protect a performance. A person who is comfortable being themselves doesn't waste energy maintaining an illusion. They don't need to change personalities to match different crowds because they're not selling an identity. Sigma males respect people who are consistent, even when being genuine isn't impressive. They know that a quiet, imperfect truth is worth far more than a flawless act. In the end, character lasts much longer than performance, because the truth never has to remember which role it was playing. Number 10, they assume every compliment has a purpose. Most people enjoy compliments without giving them a second thought. Sigma males do something different. They don't reject praise or become suspicious of every kind word, but they quietly ask themselves one simple question: why now? That question changes everything. They've learned that compliments aren't always just compliments. Sometimes they're genuine appreciation. Sometimes they're a way to build trust. Other times, they're the first move in a much larger game. A Sigma male notices patterns. If someone rarely speaks to him but suddenly becomes unusually flattering before asking for a favor, he pays attention. If someone constantly praises him in public but speaks differently behind closed doors, he notices that too. To him, timing often reveals more than the words themselves. This doesn't mean he believes everyone has bad intentions. In fact, he values sincere appreciation because he knows how rare it can be. But he also understands that praise can be used as a tool. People use it to gain influence, soften criticism, earn loyalty, or lower someone's guard. A compliment can sometimes open a door that direct persuasion never could. That's why Sigma males don't let praise control their decisions. They don't become overconfident because someone admired them, and they don't feel obligated to return a favor simply because someone made them feel important. They separate appreciation from influence. Interestingly, they apply the same rule to themselves. They don't hand out compliments just to manipulate people or gain approval. When they respect someone's effort, they say it because they mean it, not because they're expecting something in return. The hidden truth is that words are rarely powerful on their own. It's the intention behind them that gives them weight. Two people can say the exact same compliment, yet one speaks from genuine respect while the other is quietly setting the stage for a request. Sigma males understand this difference. They listen beyond the words, watch what happens next, and let actions explain what compliments cannot. That's why they're rarely dazzled by praise alone. They know that genuine respect doesn't need an agenda, and when it does, it usually stops being respect. Number 11, they know that most betrayal begins as convenience. One of the hardest truths Sigma males accept is that betrayal rarely starts with hatred. More often it begins with convenience. People don't usually wake up one morning determined to betray someone they care about. Instead, it starts with a small decision that feels harmless in the moment. Someone shares a private conversation because it's easier than keeping a promise. A friend stays silent when they should have defended you because speaking up might cost them something. A coworker takes credit for an idea because it's the fastest path to recognition. None of these choices feel enormous at first, but each one places convenience above character. Sigma males pay close attention to these moments because they understand how habits are formed. A person who makes small compromises today often finds it easier to make bigger ones tomorrow. Every excuse makes the next excuse easier. Before long, what started as a minor act of selfishness becomes a pattern that affects everyone around them. This is why Sigma males don't judge people only by the size of their mistakes. They also watch the reasoning behind them. If someone is always willing to sacrifice honesty, loyalty, or integrity whenever life becomes uncomfortable, that's a warning sign. The problem isn't the situation. The problem is the standard they live by. At the same time, Sigma males know that everyone makes mistakes. They don't expect perfection, and they don't cut people off over one bad decision. What matters is accountability. Does the person admit what they did? Do they take responsibility without making excuses? Do they change their behavior afterward? Those answers reveal far more than the mistake itself. The hidden truth is that loyalty isn't proven during easy seasons. It's proven when doing the right thing comes with a cost. Anyone can stand beside you when it's convenient. The real test begins when honesty is uncomfortable, when defending you is unpopular, or when keeping a promise requires sacrifice. That's why Sigma males trust character more than promises. Promises are made with words. Character is revealed through choices, especially when no one is watching and convenience is calling the loudest. Number 12, they realize that power often looks like the ability to leave. One of the deepest pieces of forbidden knowledge Sigma males understand is that real power isn't always about controlling people. More often it's about never being trapped by them. The person with the greatest freedom is usually the one who can walk away without their identity falling apart. Most people stay in situations long after they know they should leave. They stay in unhealthy friendships because of history. They stay in toxic relationships because they're afraid of being alone. They stay in jobs they hate because the familiar feels safer than the unknown. Little by little, fear becomes a cage, and they mistake that cage for stability. A Sigma male sees this differently. He knows that every decision comes with a price, but he also knows that refusing to leave has a price too. Sometimes it's your peace of mind. Sometimes it's your self-respect. Sometimes it's years of your life that you'll never get back. This doesn't mean he walks away from every disagreement or challenge. Quite the opposite. He understands that some things are worth fighting for. But he also knows the difference between commitment and captivity. Commitment is a choice. Captivity is believing you have no choice at all. That's why Sigma males avoid becoming emotionally dependent on things that can be taken away. They don't build their entire identity around a title, a relationship, a paycheck, or other people's approval. Those things may matter, but they refuse to let them become chains. Ironically, this mindset often earns them more respect. People can sense when someone isn't acting out of desperation. They don't beg to be accepted. They don't cling to places where they're tolerated instead of appreciated. They remain because they choose to, not because they have nowhere else to go. The hidden truth is that freedom changes the way you carry yourself. When you know you can leave what no longer serves your values, fear loses much of its grip. And when fear no longer controls your decisions, neither do the people who rely on it. That quiet freedom is a form of power that no title, amount of money, or social status can ever replace. The biggest mistake people make about Sigma males is believing they're defined by silence, independence, or a mysterious lifestyle. But as you've seen today, that's only scratching the surface. The real difference isn't found in how they dress, how little they talk, or whether they enjoy being alone. It's found in how they observe the world. They notice what others ignore. They pay attention to patterns instead of promises, actions instead of appearances, and character instead of charm. They understand that people reveal themselves in small moments, in silence, in success, in conflict, in compliments, and in the choices they make when no one is watching. That knowledge isn't flashy, but it is powerful. The truth is, these lessons aren't reserved for Sigma males alone. Anyone willing to become more observant, more disciplined, and less controlled by emotion can benefit from them. The more you understand human nature, the less likely you are to be manipulated by it. You begin making better decisions, choosing better relationships, and protecting your time, your peace, and your purpose. Perhaps that's why this knowledge feels forbidden, not because it's hidden away in some secret place, but because most people are too distracted to notice it. While they're focused on appearances, They're missing the quiet truths that shape nearly every relationship and every decision they make. So the next time you meet someone, don't be in a hurry to judge them by what they say. Watch what they consistently do. Pay attention to what changes when circumstances change. The answers you're looking for are often right in front of you. They're simply not being announced. If you enjoyed this video and found these insights valuable, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next deep dive into human behavior, psychology, and the hidden truths most people overlook. Give this video a like if even one of these points made you see people differently, and share it with someone who enjoys looking beneath the surface. Most importantly, leave a comment below and tell us which of these forbidden truths surprised you the most, and which one have you experienced in real life? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, stay observant, stay thoughtful, and never stop looking beyond what's obvious.